Vitality is our ability to have spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical bliss. Some call it paradise. We call it a game.
Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So what we're talking about today is sort of an extension of the conversation that we had about an honest conversation about us women. And I talked at length about the Muslim sister that showed up on Kendra G's channel. But I wanted to have an extended conversation about the wife and the Thots. The first thing that I want to sort of do is I'm going to correct myself going forward, because I really want people to understand what the heck I'm talking about when I'm talking about a wife, when I say things like there's a whore in every wife, right? And then I'll turn around and say there's not a wife inside of the whore. And I've been using the word whore really for its shock value, because it has always been the complete antithesis of what a wife is, how we conceptualize what wives are versus what whores are. And I wanted that shock value because I needed people to really sort of understand where I was coming from and to sort of marry the two ideas in a very specific way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch up the terminology, because the way in which we view what a whore is, and I'm not really trying to redefine whore. We always have thought of it, and it is a woman who gives herself sexually to many men, without commitment, without the confine of marriage, even without the structure of any sort of relationship at all. The whore is typically almost exclusively dealing in the transaction with men on a consistent basis. And no society has ever, that I know of, has ever attached value as a wife to a woman that everyone has considered to be a whore, or who is known to be a whore. So with that being said, and with that being understood, I'm going to switch it up. I'm not going to say whore anymore as attached to or juxtaposed against the concept of a wife. Maybe saying the word freak is better. Maybe saying the word, even saying the word slut, although that's very closely associated with the concept of the whore. And even the thought is the same thing. A thought is the same thing, a woman who gives herself to a lot of men. So even though the terminology that I've been using has been shocking on purpose, it might not be correct. But what I want people to understand, I want women who are wives, who are lionesses, to understand and to grasp and to embrace and to accept the sexual part of her nature. That is what I really want to do. That's the whole goal. and the whole point of saying what I've been saying. Hopefully, we can sort of work past the terminology to get to the concept, to get to the point of what I've been trying to say about wives. Because in this society, we have been taught that a wife and a whore are different things, which they are, but we separate them, we polarize them for everything, including their sexual nature. We're going to get to it in a minute, because this is actually one of the byproducts of feminism. It's really not so much a byproduct as kind of the point. The reason why feminism worked so well on women is because feminism actually addresses the nature of women. That's why it works well. That's why it appeals to women on some level, some more than others, because it actually addresses the psychology and the nature of women. See, those who put feminism into play in our society, which are the same ones who put white survivalism into play, understand that feminism comes from that, but that's not even really the point of what I'm trying to say. But we do have to understand its origin to understand the point of its negativity, why it's here and why it's destructive. It has been there it addresses female nature, but it addresses it negatively. Instead of encouraging women to act on their natures in a way that helps, supports, bolsters, and heals, and really does good by herself, her relationships, her family, her marriage, her community, all of these things, and society at large, it actually helps her to do these same things in a very destructive way, right? Women have always been sexual, always. The wives were sexual. How do you think children were coming about? They're sexual. But there was a time prior to feminism that it wasn't culturally rewarded to be anything other than a wife. You weren't getting rewarded for being a thought. You were getting ostracized for that. You were being ridiculed for that. Society turned their back on you for that kind of behavior. So society always awarded the wife. So women lived up to all of the things that you need to do in order to be a wife. All of these values, all of the feminism, not feminism, but all of the femininity that a woman is supposed to have, because we naturally like to take care of things. We like to nurture things. They give us dolls when we're little babies. Like, we're little bitty girls and they'll give us a doll to take care of. That's because they're fostering in our nature that sense of wanting to nurture, wanting to take care of something, wanting to, bring out those motherly instincts in a little girl that doesn't have any concept truly about that, but it's appealing to her nature. So those who brought about feminism studied female nature and male nature, so they understood what the responses were going to be. So what they did was, it's a social construct. Feminism itself is the social construct. Let us deal with women in their basest nature, but instead of giving them a structure with which to deal with it so that it can always be something supportive and positive, we'll take away the structure, still encourage them to do it, but now it doesn't have any structure to it. There's no order. It's only now going to be chaos, and that full throttle chaos is always going to destroy. It's never going to build. It's always going to destroy things. So it encourages women to embrace her sexuality and her hypergamy in a destructive way. So now when we talk about women's sexuality and women's hypergamy, we always think of it negatively. Now we always think of it negatively. There's no positive way now for us to think about women their sexual nature and their hypergamous nature. It's always bad. It's 100% bad now. So feminism actually did its job by taking something that's natural to women and actually making it abhorrent, actually making it something that to be avoided, or something to be ridiculed, or something to be driven out of her. The other effect is that when we talk about a woman being a wife, in order for her to show she's a wife, she actually has to convince herself, and she has the task of trying to convince men, or the man that she wants to be married to or chosen by, that she doesn't have hypergamy and that she doesn't have sexuality, that she doesn't engage really in that. She's this super virtuous, pious woman. She's this perfect poly, right? And she's got all of this feminine virtue and all of these qualities, and she will. Here's the thing about the lioness. The lioness is the main one that needs to express herself sexually with her husband. She's the main one that needs to do that. And the reason why she's the main one that needs to do that is because she's held to order everywhere else in her life, while not being exempt from having the chaos of a woman in general. These are the things that we have to understand. A lioness is not a lioness because she's not sexual, or because she doesn't have hypergamy, or because she doesn't have any chaos, and because she's this perfectly logical, perfectly in order, perfectly straight-laced, straight as a board woman 100% of the time. That's not even possible. That's not why she's a lioness. She's not a lioness because she doesn't view her sexuality in any sort of way that really needs to be addressed. Like, you don't marry a lioness like, oh, I ain't really gotta address her sexual need. This is when I talk about not divorcing her biology from her value as an individual, which is what we've done. And feminism helped us do it. We divorce, when we think about a good girl, when we think about the wife, we don't think about her in a sexual way. We actually don't think about the women or the men. Don't think about her in a, she's removed from this sexual space, right? She's removed out of that space, such that if we talk about things like your wife has this freak inside of her, I want people to understand that that's not some women. That's not maybe this woman over here, maybe that woman over here. All women are like that. All women are like that. All of them. Every last one of them. Every single lioness that is worthy of being chosen as a wife has a freak inside of her that actually needs to be dealt with. That actually needs to be dealt with. And when it's not dealt with, see, the husband has to deal with it. When you're dealing with a lioness, the husband has to deal with that part of her. He can't just deal with the wife part and then ignore the sexual part. Like she don't really desire it. Like there's not a strong desire. It's not duty. It's not duty. She don't want sexual duty. She don't want to have sex because that's her duty as a wife. She want to have sex because she want to get her back broke. You understand that? That's why. That's why she wants that. And what we've done a lot of times, not everybody, but for the most part, what we've done since we've divorced the wife from the sex, we look at her sideways. Because only a thought should want this type of sex in this way. You should want straight lace missionary sex only to have a baby sex. So I should be able to get away with giving you 5 minutes of missionary and you should be fine. So if you ask me as your wife to, babe, can we, let me see, how can I put this? Can we try something new? Try something new? Why you want to try something new? What new? What kind of new? And it's like, that's okay. Nothing. I don't want to try nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Right? Her husband has to acknowledge. He can't really refuse to either acknowledge or deal with her in this way because it might lower her value in his eyes. That's part of the issue. That's not the whole issue, but that can be part of the issue. It lowers her in his eyes. He can't marry them two people. The woman that he loved, that he saw all of this wifely value in, he can't marry that to the idea that this is also a sexual being that wants me to come at her like she's a sexual being, that want me to deal with her like she's sexual, like there's a sexual need there that needs to be addressed. Like we got to address that. Like I'm not going to be able to give her 5 minutes, of okay type of sex and then we done. I'm gonna have to spank her. Yeah. We pulling hair. It's disrespectful. We being disrespectful right now. We gonna be disrespectful. Every time I get at her, we gonna be disrespectful. Because I know she needs that. I know she needed. And the reason why I am driving the point home for the lioness is because a lioness, the reason why she's a wife is because she's not going to give this energy to every man. She's looking, that was the whole purpose of her not being for the streets and not getting out there thotting and bopping and not getting out there being a whore and trying to be, have her feminine virtue and have her values up and have her womanhood up and all of this type of stuff, because the hope is that this inner freak I got can only be released one way. I only want to release it one way. I don't want to go all over the place. And if I happen to get a husband that loves all of these wifely qualities in me, but he make me feel stupid or judged or not safe somehow, some way, for having the freak inside of me. In short, if it can't be addressed for whatever reason, if I can't get that part of me actually addressed, there's gonna be issues. And then this is when you're gonna see even a lioness start breaking down. She's gonna start having chaos everywhere. Because the one thing she's gonna try to do is shut down her sexual part, and that's not really gonna work. Because biologically, she can't do that. She can't actually do that. And then she's going to start becoming chaotic in other places. Then this is where a lot of marital problems come in at. I don't know why she's changing. She used to do this and she used to do that as a wife, but she don't do that no more. Why don't she do that anymore? It's not that she don't want to be a good wife. I'm talking about the wives. It's not that she don't want to be a good wife or that she doesn't want to continue to be a good wife, but she's not realizing that sexual frustration is actually coming out in other areas. It's coming out. She's got a little bit of an attitude, probably. You know what I mean? She just ain't acting the same. She just ain't acting the same. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, if she's really a lioness, I'm not talking about a chameleon, I'm talking about a true lioness, she doesn't even recognize that that's why she's being chaotic. She doesn't recognize that. She doesn't really, it's got to be brought to her attention. She don't really know because she's not doing it from a malicious place. It's just that the chaos can't be contained because it's not being directed. The chaos has to be directed. And that's actually the way in which you direct chaos. It's from a woman. You direct it sexually because that's the only place where it really belongs. Everything else needs to be in order. So I hope that it was helpful, this kind of extended conversation. I'm hoping that I was able to clarify. Please forgive me for a bad choice in words when I juxtapose wife and whore. Please forgive me for that. But I did want to, have it be understood what I'm really saying about a wife's sexuality. She has that component also, right? Okay, so before we sign out, I want to bring everybody's attention to the petition we have against Black Lives Matter as an organization, still holding them accountable for that $90 million theft that they perpetrated on the Black community. If you want to be part of holding them accountable as well, please go ahead and click the link to the petition in the description box. Please sign it, share it, and contribute to it if you can. Also, sound off in the comment section. Let me know your opinion on this subject. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.